globalist siege. Africa is under globalist siege. Latin America is under globalist siege. If a country kicks the globalists out, then the UN, everybody puts sanctions on them and embargoes and puts U.S. Navy off their coast or NATO military to block even food or medicine coming in. This is total and complete world government in everyone's face. Total and complete world government. A scientific takeover blueprint that is public. No quarter will be given, ladies and gentlemen. They're not going to let you beg them. Let's go ahead and play a clip of Obama indicting the American dream, indicting it and saying government is the answer from which everything, yeah, a crony government run by offshore banks who happen to be eugenicists. Even if you believe in the mega state, total state, worship the state system, and all the nightmares it creates in history, and you're ignorant. Don't you understand? This is a tyranny. This is a conversion of the economy. We'll take you out to break with Lord Obama. Here it is.
If you've been successful, you didn't get there on your own. I'm always struck by people who think, well, it must be because I was just so smart. There are a lot of smart people out there. It must be because I worked harder than everybody else. Let me tell you something. There are a whole bunch of hard-working people out there. If you were successful, somebody along the line gave you some help. There was a great teacher somewhere in your life. Somebody helped to create this unbelievable American system that we had that allowed you to thrive. Somebody invested in roads and bridges. If you got a business, you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen. The internet didn't get invented on its own. Government research created the internet, so then all the companies could make money off the internet.
We'll stop right there. Not human research, not things developed and then that government put together and then that was deployed. Knowing this technology was coming, they deployed it to make sure they had back doors in it to control it, to make it a tyranny. We're going to come back and run down more of this and really break down just how serious this is. And then we're going to get into all the other incredible news. Stay with us. So Obama says that you never built a business, you never did anything. If you are born with talent and skill and apply yourself and are a great sculptor or painter or a great photographer, no, you didn't do that. If I worked probably 18 hours a day for my first 15 years on air, I still work about 12, 13, 14 hours. Even when I'm home, I'm working. I didn't foresee the globalists coming. I didn't read their documents. I didn't go to the library. I didn't research. I didn't do anything. I didn't hire people and get sponsors and work hard to build my own media system from the ground up. No, government did that. And my wife and I didn't get together and work hard and raise our children. My wife and I didn't change diapers. Obama did. I mean, everything is them. Everything is them. I remember when SOS, the local environmental group, was taking people's property to turn around and build housing developments on it that they themselves own. I remember being in radio debates with some of the heads of it and some of the city council people, and they would look at me when I was on other people's shows, back when that was passing in 96, 97. And they'd look at me during the breaks and they'd smile and they'd say, there's nothing you can do. We're taking over and government directs everything. Everything is a planned economy. We know best. We're the reason there's prosperity. And there they were, literally taking ranchers and farmers I was interviewing's property for the earth, saying you will sell it, eminent domain, 3 cents on the dollar. And then just 5 years later, turning around, taking restrictions off, having the former mayor's own development bank loan the money to developers, and then the very bureaucrats that took the property moving into $2 million houses in the most beautiful areas outside Austin. And you know what? They command the SWAT teams. If you don't give your property up, you're dead. They will send them. You will die. And you know what? Thank God for them. There's nothing like having somebody with a 5,000-acre cattle ranch that's probably worth $100 million or more at the time, you know, being given $2 million for it. And then watching as the restrictions are taken off of it and it's built on hotels, spas, shopping malls, luxury communities. I mean, that government did that. Doesn't matter if, you know, that family's great-grandfather moved in there, cleared the trees themselves, started raising cows and goats on it 100 and something years ago. Doesn't matter if they worked their fingers to the bone. Doesn't matter. No. Government took it and then gave it to select insiders. And mafia government is why the grass grows, the sun shines, the birds sing. Those of us that gamble everything to start businesses and operations and that work hard to make sure things happen and that do the interviews and hire the people and train them on the skills and then put them in positions and then put reporters on the air and create notoriety and a career for them, I get zero credit. I am, in fact, a parasitic piece of filth for demanding more out of people, for trying to get people to the next level so that they can then go on someday and maybe create their own system. I am bad. Entrepreneurs, trailblazers, builders, inventors are scum. Government taking taxpayer money and buying it all up and then selectively giving it to certain corporations like Google to then deploy taxpayer-funded technology against the taxpayers, that's good. Government taking our tax money. When government doesn't have our consent anymore, it has a 9% approval rating on average, Congress does. Doesn't matter if they don't have our consent. They are God, they are good, we are trash, we are filth. If you built a business, you didn't build it. If you have a successful business, you didn't build it, you don't have credit. If you get up, a lot of these little stands that make tacos and fajitas and things, I mean, there are little guys around Austin that have got 10, 20 stands apiece now, making millions of dollars a year. I've talked to some of them, people that came to this country with nothing 20 years ago, 5 years ago, start little taco stands that, and it's competitive. Whoever has the best tacos starts getting the business. And then suddenly they have 20 taco stands around town. Their hard work, getting up at 4 a.m., making the tacos, going out there in the freezing cold or the hot, being bit by mosquitoes, whatever, and doing that, you get no credit. You did nothing. Government that takes your money and shakes you down is actually just lovingly caressing you, and they built everything. Everything. Government. Okay? The American dream is evil. We now have the socialist dream. We're over some other news here quickly. And then I'm going to go to your phone calls. If you're entrepreneurs, do you agree that government did it all and you didn't do anything? As Obama said, imagine if somebody told you 10 years ago that an American president, that under that president, the welfare rolls would double. And that then we would get to a point where the president looked at you and said, if you have a business, you didn't build it. Implying that if you have crew or employees, they're not paid. Or that in a free system, they didn't come and seek employment. And again, that's to play employees off against owners by the government. That's the plan here, and this is class warfare. Of course, you know that at a tune of about 5 to 1, the bankers, the corporate welfare, you're never going to hear Mitt Romney talk about corporate welfare. You're never going to hear Rush Limbaugh talk about corporate welfare. You never, every once in a while, they'll talk about crony capitalism in relationship to Democrats openly giving their friends, here's $1 billion, here's $500 million, here's a waiver on regulations we passed. Because that's why government always goes bad. And the bigger the government, the worse. Because it allows those corrupt influence to get in there through bribery, blackmail, payoffs, sex, everything. Because, I mean, if you can get to a senator, a senior senator, they can get your legislation in. They can get it through. They can get you hundreds of billions of dollars in contracts. They can write regulations to shut down your competition and give you a waiver. And these poor welfare class people, they've never worked a real day in their life, many of them. They have no idea. They sit around watching daytime TV all day with the lawyer ads and the sitcoms and the MTV. And, I mean, can you blame them? They don't have a hope in the world of anything. But then there's people who've had their arms and legs blown off in combat. They've got to be on disability. You've got all the people who've got chronic health problems from all the chemical and biological warfare and bad health decisions who the insurance companies won't insure. And so then that gets thrown on the states that are going bankrupt. You got 35 million illegal aliens bankrupting the system. Can you go to Mexico and get free health care? They laugh at you. So the plan is bankrupt the country. And so now we've been bankrupted just off our own $15 trillion they got us into debt on. They've signed us on to $644 trillion. That's a 2-year-old number. It's over $700 trillion now. Of the 1.5 quadrillion worldwide, fake paper. It'd be like if I set up a money laundering operation or a counterfeiting operation, and I got the city of Austin to invest in it, and the city of Austin was going to go belly up if they didn't sign on to debt 20 times the debt of city of Austin. You know, just an analogy here. And so instead of going to jail, the city of Austin comes out and says Alex Jones has to run everything now because he signed us onto this fraud. And I get up there and lecture you about how you're going to live under austerity. This is the plan. If we had a free market in healthcare like we used to have, these new procedures would get approved quicker. People would find out what procedures really worked better. It wouldn't just be a bunch of drug companies running things, selling you drugs that kill you dead or to hammer or don't even help you, while blocking approval of good drugs or paying off doctors not to tell you about generic drugs that work even better or older drugs. They know all this. This is on record. This is a gamed insider economy, a mafia economy. It's converting to that. So who does the mafia want to shut down? Who do mafias always want to shut down, even at the micro level? They want to shut down local businesses they don't control, and they don't like the churches because sometimes the local churches might stand up to them. And what does Obama say? He doesn't like bitter clingers who cling their guns and their Bibles, and he doesn't like small business owners because I've done the math. I'm not some, globalist billionaire exempt from all this stuff. And so on average, taxes one way or another, guess what percentage, because I've had my accountant do it, had a CPA do it, looking at all my numbers, one of the top accounting firms here in Austin, is we have first-rate accounting now. 5 years ago, we didn't. I mean, I've gotten neurotic about it. Guess how much Alex Jones pays in taxes at the end of each year, county, state, federal reserve, all of it. Guess what I pay? Guess. 56%. And folks, that ain't enough. You understand? It isn't enough. I mean, feudal serfs in Europe on average gave about 10%. It's the same number in feudal Japan. 10%. 10%. 10%. If you grew rice, you gave 10%. If you grew vegetables, if you caught fish, you gave 10%. 10%. If you sold those at the market, you got some silver, 10%. The tax collector was there at the end of the dock to get the money. And there you could argue, they had Japanese, ships out there